What's up, y'all? Talon here. Today I'm excited to be sharing another series of high-level ranked battles featuring top teams in the Regulation E metagame. Today we have a really incredible team that was created by Michael Zhang, Eternal Snowman Online, who was able to take this team to first place in the Sacramento Regional Championship. It was a 400-person in-person tournament featuring some of the best players in California and just really competitive overall. So it was really impressive to see Michael take his first regional championship ever with this team. And it's a really electric team to boot, really anti-meta. We haven't seen anything even remotely close to it, I would say, in the Regulation E metagame, so I'm really happy to be featuring it for some battles today. Before we move on to a breakdown of the team, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. A fair amount of my viewers have not subscribed, and I really appreciate it. Trying to grow the channel, so that helps a ton. And yeah, let's get into a breakdown of the team. So we'll start with the Kommo-o, just because I think it is the centerpiece of the team. Basically, Kommo-o came in with all of the Pokemon from the Teal Mask DLC as one of the returning Pokemon. And it's just a really solid Pokemon overall, really incredible stats around the board, but nothing especially stands out. Like, it's really well-rounded stats, but not a lot to just immediately overpower you, and that's where setup comes in. So we've seen a lot of Clangorous Soul sets, basically paired with Sinistcha to heal up the damage you take from that +1 Omni boost, but something that's a little more consistent is the Iron Defense set. Just because you don't have to worry about taking that chunk of HP, you can just run an item like Leftovers. Usually you have to run Throat Spray on Clangorous, on the Clangorous set, just so that you get a +2 special attack boost instead of the +1 to get a little bit more potent immediately. But the Leftovers and the lack of chunk of HP that you take on your setup is just really appreciated. It means you can go for multiple setups in one battle and just buff your damage output considerably while also buffing your defense. And that's really appreciated just because many threats in this metagame are physical attackers. Having the natural dragon type immunity or resistance to both the grass, fire, and water coverage of the dominant Ogerpon forms is really appreciated. And then you have a steel Tera type, which is really appreciated. The dragon and fairy typing weakness, or the dragon and fighting type weakness to fairy type attacks, is just really detrimental to Kommo-o. So having the ability to go for the Tera Steel is pretty important in the face of other Flutter Mane, and Bulletproof as your ability over something like Overcoat or Soundproof is just basically means that you'll always wall a Flutter Mane as long as they don't have something like Mystical Fire as their coverage move. Because Bulletproof actually does grant you an immunity to Shadow Ball, so most Flutter Mane only have Dazzling Gleam, Moonblast, and Shadow Ball in their moveset. Occasionally they'll have a coverage move like Power Gem or Thunderbolt, both of which you don't take a lot of damage with in or out of Tera, so you're essentially making yourself a counter to Flutter Mane after you've Tera. And basically not a lot of Pokemon in the metagame can hit the dragon typing otherwise, so your opponent is a bit forced to bring Flutter Mane, but as soon as they do, you just go for the Tera Steel, resist their attacks, and can 1-hit KO them if they haven't intimidated you with Iron Head, so it's a really cool set. The next point of interest on the team for me is the Arcanine. So Arcanine Hisuian form, in this case being run a lot more similarly to the very bulky Kanto Arcanine that we've seen in past regulations, so running Will-o-Wisp and Flare Blitz, and then Howl, which we saw a bit of in previous regulations to boost the damage output of slower physical attackers, of which this team has both Rillaboom and Tyranitar, so you can really buff their damage outputs a fair bit. Rock Slide and Flare Blitz, just good coverage moves, and Will-o-Wisp is something I really actually like a lot. Beyond Ogerpon, Urshifu, and Chien-Pao, all of which you can kind of Tera Water to fare a bit better against. Will-o-Wisp does really well against a lot of the slower physical attackers in the metagame. Looking at Rillaboom, looking at Iron Hands, things like that, just really aren't able to function as effectively once they've been hit by a Will-o-Wisp. And yeah, we have a Tera Water, which effectively lets you handle Urshifu Surging Strikes. They can't just so safely go for that. And then you have Citrus Berry for general bulk, and this is a really cool Arcanine. It's got pretty much no attack investment. It's just very fast, very bulk invested in HP, so that you're able to outspeed some kind of surprising things. We saw on the stream Michael's Arcanine able to outspeed an opposing Dondozo after the boost, so yeah, you can get some really surprising Will-o-Wisps off against even Adamant Max Speed Urshifu, so it's a really cool set on this Arcanine. Moving a bit out of order, we have Tyranitar next. I'm mainly doing this just because I saw the Tyranitar Arcanine a fair bit. I actually played against Donald Smith, one of the other pilots of this team. He got 17th place, just missing the top 16 finish with this team, but incredible finish overall. And yeah, between the two of them, I saw them leading Arcanine, Tyranitar a fair bit. And I think part of this is just to get the Sandstream on the field immediately, just get a ton of chip damage for the Kommo-o, as well as just the rest of the back Pokemon. And you also give Arcanine, as well as yourself, a special defense boost, which is really nice, very naturally bulky Pokemon, but with the additional bulk on the special side, it's really appreciated. Very difficult to knock these Pokemon out, especially when you combine that with Intimidate for physical attackers as well as Will-o-Wisp. So yeah, it's just a really cool combination as a lead. In Tyranitar, although we saw it in previous formats, it kind of fell off after the release of Chien-Pao, just a lot of other dark types in the game, and the proliferation of fighting type moves overall was just really detrimental to Tyranitar in future formats. But yeah, it's got a new tool now in Knockoff, which is really, really nice. The Knockoff, basically going from a 65 base power to I think a 97.5 base power move, able to do incredible damage from Tyranitar's high base attack stat, as well as just being able to knock off items. If you're able to knock off something like a Lander, suddenly your Flutter Mane is a counter to it. Among other things, just really a lot of utility on that knockoff. Rock Slide, of course, is going to be really appreciated. Low Kick, really good coverage into something like Iron Hands if you don't want to go for the Tera. Speaking of which, it is a Tera Psychic Tyranitar. I don't think we've seen anything Tera Psychic in this metagame. That wasn't like a Trick Room Pokemon like Armarouge. I just really like the Tera Psychic on this. You double as an offensive Tera type, being able to hit Iron Hands, and more increasingly important, Amoonguss, which something like a traditional Tera Fairy you wouldn't be able to hit. So I think, yeah, I'm really, really happy about the Tera Psychic. I think that's a really cool choice. I don't know if we'll see it on a lot of Pokemon. I think it's a little niche for the Tyranitar, but it works perfectly here. One combo you can go for on the lead is actually just go for Howl on the first turn as your opponent tries to switch and Intimidate, and then just go for really fast Rock Slides with both of them at neutral or +1 and just do incredible damage. And if you have the speed advantage, your opponent, if you hit both Rock Slides, has around a 50-50 chance to actually attack, and so statistically only one of your opponents will be able to attack if you connect on both of them and you outspeed both. So yeah, pretty cool combination there. As the last physical attacker on the team, we have a Rillaboom, which is Miracle Seed, Woodhammer, Grassy Glide, Fake Out, all pretty traditional options. Taunt, which I think is pretty smart against, you can use it against Trick Room teams, you can use it against Amoonguss to stop any Spore. We saw that in the finals being pretty important. And the really big standout on this team, on this Rillaboom, is actually the Tera type. So generally we've seen defensive Teras dominate the Rillabooms. We've seen Tera Water, Tera Fire, etc. But this one is actually Tera Grass, which you can imagine with Grassy Terrain up, Miracle Seed, Woodhammer does insane damage with Tera Grass. And more importantly, I think, is the Tera Grass Grassy Glide. So obviously with the nerf to 55 base power, Grassy Glide isn't getting the same KOs it used to, but the boost from the Tera really sets it over the edge on some of the more suspect calculations where you probably wouldn't be able to knock out a Flutter Mane before if they're running a fair amount of bulk. But if you're able to go for the Tera Grass, that should be a pretty clean knockout. Similar for Iron Bundle or Urshifu, if they have some bulk, they're going to be able to take the hit. I think Urshifu actually just takes the hit. I'm not super familiar with my Miracle Seed calcs, but even the bulkiest of Urshifu I would expect to drop to the Tera Grass Grassy Glide. So yeah, it's a really cool Tera type, and I think it can catch a lot of people off guard. Lastly on the team are kind of less interesting, but we have Iron Bundle with Tera Ghost with a booster energy speed, along with Freeze Dry, Hydro Pump, Icy Wind, just a generally strong set. The Tera Ghost granting you an immunity to Fake Out, fighting type moves as well as extreme speed from Dragonite, and Flutter Mane just running a choice spec set. The Flutter Mane also pretty standard. It's a timid choice spec set with the standard moves and then Psyshock as the filler move in case you want to hit a Amoonguss or anything like that. And overall, yeah, those last two Pokemon I think are really more of a mix-up. If your opponent kind of has a good grasp on how to deal with your setup or your slower options, then you can kind of just like burst damage them in the late or early game with Iron Bundle, Flutter Mane, and basically poke the hole specifically so that your Kommo-o or your back Pokemon can finish the game off. And I think that's a really cool option for defensive teams to have, is just a basically being able to pivot away from a more defensive game plan to a more offensive. Once again, congratulations to Michael for his first regional championship. It was a really impressive team building effort and honestly an even more impressive run in the top cut. Every one of his stream games were just really, really high level on his part and his opponent's parts, but he was able to come out on top and it was really a treat to watch. So yeah, check him out on Twitter. I have that linked in the description below, as well as the rental coast and the Pokepaste with all the EV spreads in that. If you enjoyed the team breakdown and the battles, please subscribe to the channel. And with all that being said, let's get into it. Flutter Mane, Indeedee, Arcanine, Tornadus, Sneasler, and Urshifu. Okay. I don't know what to do. Okay. So Tyranitar is excellent against Indeedee, but kind of bad against Urshifu and Sneasler. Flutter, pretty good against both of those. I actually, Bundle's solid. Bundle is definitely solid. So the issue with the Urshifu is this is one of the rare matchups where we can't just Rillaboom our way through entirely. I do like Arcanine as a lead, along with Iron Bundle. I would lead Flutter Mane, but if they're Tera Water Urshifu, that could be a little bit of an annoyance. I think Rillaboom's pretty strong here, potentially. If I can knock out their Indeedee and Lastmon, I think we could surprise them with the Tyranitar. I'm not sure which is better, Flutter Mane or Tyranitar. I think Tyranitar might be a decent bring here, weirdly enough. We'll see. I think if we preserve Tera as Psychic, that'd be really funny into the Sneasler for a 4-time super effective hit. Also into Urshifu, if they're the water one, then we can go for Tera Psychic and knock them out. They go Torn Urshifu, so very glad that I didn't lead the Flutter Mane. Now I have a pretty much immunity to the Urshifu's damage, which I'm good with. I kind of like the idea of Tera Water, Rock Slide, Freeze Dry immediately. I do lose the ability to go for Tera Grass, unfortunately. But I don't love the idea of them going for example, like close combat, Bleak Windstorm or something. That'd be really difficult for me to handle. So Rock Slide won't be a knockout, unfortunately. I think I want to maybe go after the Torn, but I'm gonna freeze dry the Urshifu just because they could be Scarf. Yeah, Icy Wind would have been better for me here. Indeedee, okay. Maybe predicting extreme speed? I'm not totally sure I follow. But I just tear it out of my resistance to flying type moves, so that's a little annoying. And this isn't a bulky Iron Bundle, so if they have enough juice on their Torn, they might be able to knock me out. But outside of a very slow Torn, no Tera from them, because ours goes off first. Yep, straight away, Tailwind, Icy Wind would have been a lot better for me here, but it is what it is. I think it was kind of foolish of them to reveal their Indeedee this early. Rillaboom looks really strong for me. That's super bulky. Okay, fair enough. I feel fine about... I could switch here, couldn't I? Not threatening a ton of damage. I like the idea of switching out into Tyranitar. Like, we are sacrificing our speed, but that should only matter if they're a booster speed Flutter Mane or a Choice Scarf Urshifu, either of which don't do so well against my Rillaboom in the back. And if we can knock out this Indeedee with the Sand Chip, that'd be really nice. I don't think we will, but yeah. Also just wanted to switch in for this Bleak Windstorm. Lowering the speed, probably not going to matter. Oh, big Psychic. We do connect, very nice, and we'll see if Torn is Citrus Berry or not. No, looks like the Indeedee is. So that's fine. They'll probably bring in their Urshifu, which is fine because they'll only be able to take 1 KO with that. Unless they're like super especially offensive Indeedee. But at this point, we're really just trying to whittle away, probably go after a knockout on the Indeedee so that we can clean up with a Rillaboom and Iron Bundle. Yeah. Flare Blitz, knockoff. Yeah, I think that's pretty good coverage for me. Well, no, that should be fine. Could I get swept by Sneasler at this point? Maybe. I would like not to chance that. I think I'm actually not just going to sack my Arcanine. Yeah, I think I probably should have just attacked, double attacked with both. I don't think they're going to switch to Sneasler, but if they do, I want to have that covered. And yeah, they aren't. So unfortunately, that opens us up to them knocking out our Tyranitar and getting free damage onto Rillaboom, when we could have just knocked out Indeedee and closed with Rillaboom. So it's a bit annoying, but it is what it is. Gonna see a Tera from them. Okay, fair enough. They're just going for Tera Water, most likely, into my into Tar. So yeah, kind of a bad swap on my part, but I was trying to cover a Sneasler endgame for them, and they don't end up going for it, but, you know, that's okay. I will be able to land an Intimidate and then go for something like Grassy Glide. Okay, that doesn't do a ton, and we are going to start healing a bit from the grassy terrain. If Indeedee were slow enough, then Arcanine could maybe land a Flare Blitz first. But yeah, we put ourselves in a bit harder of a position than we had to by switching out instead of just going for the attack. But I do think they would have been a really... If they had played aggressive and switched into the Sneasler, I think they could have made a pretty solid comeback with that play, so I wanted to have that covered. Now I like Grassy Glide plus... Grassy Glide into you, and then... Will-o-Wisp, maybe? Into Indeedee? Does that make sense? Because they have to redirect or switch. If it's Flutter Mane, I'm in trouble though, right? Yeah, I'm gonna go Grassy Glide and Flare Blitz. So I think this is their last turn of Tailwind. Okay, switching out Urshifu, not what I expected. I wonder if their choice... They're Sneasler, okay. It's not gonna take a ton here, but it doesn't take nothing. Yeah, and they Psychic again. Okay, weird. We take that, but they don't reset the Psychic terrain, so they're actually not going to get their Psychic Seed boost, meaning Iron Bundle is free to knock that out in a turn or two. I just have to knock out this pesky Urshifu. And the Sand actually chips us into the Citrus Berry range, which is just insult to injury. Yeah, now I think we have a pretty safe Flare Blitz. Flare Blitz plus Grassy Glide. Would you be Fake Out Sneasler on a Psychic Terrain team? Maybe. At which point you can lock into close combat to close the game out, which is kind of annoying. Yeah. Yeah, that's my real concern here. Can I cover for that? I think so. I think Grassy Glide into Urshifu. Wait, did they wear out my Grassy's? No, they didn't. I just didn't see the field effect. Grassy Glide should be a knockout into Urshifu. And I think Iron Bundle is actually... Well, they'd have to double the Rillaboom, right? Yeah, I think... okay, yeah, no Fake Out. So I was much ado about nothing. And we did actually outspeed. They were just an adamant Urshifu, so... Yeah, we outspeed with both. Just fast Arcanines really takes advantage of people centralizing their speed tiers around adamant max speed Urshifu. And that should do it. I'm a little surprised they lived the Grassy Glide. I have to refamiliarize with myself with that calc to see how bulky they are, but yeah. That should close it out. Thinking back on that last turn though, if they have Fake Out, Then they fake out my Rillaboom. Maybe in that instance, I actually just go for Will-o-Wisp into the Urshifu. Or Flare. Yeah, I think I Will-o-Wisp. My better play there was Will-o-Wisp plus Grassy Glide instead of Flare Blitz, because assuming they're fake out Sneasler, they fake out my Rillaboom, they go for close combat into that. If I knock out the Sneasler, that's like okay. Well, no, that's totally fine, because then they close combat my Iron Bundle, they knock me out. I go for Will-o-Wisp or even Rock Slide, because at that point they're -2 defense. So yeah, I think I really overthought that in game. Although I guess we ended up making the correct play of Flare Blitz the Sneasler anyways, instead of risking the Will-o-Wisp miss, so it all worked out. I think it's generally a good way, once you've already won a game, or at least very close to won it, just trying to figure out, okay, in what ways can my opponent come back here? On a ladder setting, trying to figure out niche items, niche movesets, and in an in-person or information-rich environment like Open Team Sheet, just trying to figure out, okay, what possible combination of their moves can they go for to win them this game? What RNG could go wrong? And trying to minimize the chances of that happen. Even if you can minimize the percentage, even if you can find a chance to win a game that's 5% more likely, so like a 90% or like a 95% instead of a 90%, over the course of a tournament, that can end up paying dividends. So next up, we have Essentia with Ogerpon, Water Form, Flutter Mane, Heatran, Iron Hands, Chien-Pao, and Lando. Okay. I see this team and I see Kommo-o food for the most part. Well, maybe not the Heatran. The Heatran could be a bit annoying, but we can play around that. I kind of like Arcanine as a lead. Does very well into a lot of their Pokemon. I also like Flutter. They could lead like Lando Flutter, which would be annoying. I think Rilla's really good here. The Tera Grass option could be very nice. And then last, the option to break Focus Sash on Chien-Pao is kind of compelling, but I think it might be a little too Tera hungry for my liking. The Tyranitar. Kommo-o could be cool. I'm very weak to Heatran at the moment, so I think maybe Iron Bundle in the back is best. Force a Tera and then beat it with Rillaboom. Not if they're Tera Grass though. Yeah, I think fast Heatran. I had a pretty slow Heatran at Regionals, which made Kommo-o outspeeding it a little difficult. So Heatran wasn't as good a horrible matchup for this team, but I could see a faster Heatran after the Kommo-o has had its Tera Steel forced being a bit of an issue. So I didn't want to risk that. Given they don't have Trick Room on this team, I don't want them going for that. So Hands plus Flutter Mane versus Arcanine plus Flutter Mane. Totally fine by that. I think I am going to switch out my Flutter Mane just because I don't love the damage coming out here. I'm going to Will-o-Wisp the Arcanine, or the Hands, and switch out to Rillaboom. Wait. Can I not just Will-o-Wisp the Hands and Dazzling Gleam? Not if they Shadow Ball, which would be a bit of an issue. Yeah, I don't want to get Shadow Ball, do I? Shadow Ball is non-zero damage, that's for sure. Should I risk being the faster Flutter Mane here? Probably not. Whatever, let's go for it. Preserving the Grass Tera would basically, for the Rillaboom to be clear, would basically only be for beating the Flutter Mane anyways, like guaranteeing that calc. So if we just guarantee living this turn, given they don't go for Tera Fairy Moonblast, which as we saw, we're actually faster on that. Okay, they fake out the Arc, which is fine, I guess. Yeah, they did go for Shadow Ball. We're getting a big chunk of damage here if they don't knock us out, which they don't. So Arcanine is going to take a ton of damage. Flutter Mane takes a ton of damage too. Wow, okay. Yeah, they crit, or we crit, which is super appreciated. They do have a knockout now. could go Howl switch into Rillaboom, which would be funny. Don't think it's right though. Flutter Mane's kind of just beaten by everything on my team at this point. I think I kind of want to go for Flare Blitz, Dazzling Gleam. Do I have to go for that? I guess my Flutter's a little strong against Ogerpon. It's not good against Lando or Heatran. I don't really want to take the damage on my Rillaboom. Maybe that's wrong, maybe I should have switched, but not what I end up going for. Trying to take out the Iron Hands, just because I don't want to take a Drain Punch this turn. But I could have gone for like Rock Slide and taken the KO on that. And if it just doesn't knock out, then whoops. Oh man. That's really unfortunate. They just barely live, and now they Drain Punch all the damage back, basically. So Rock Slide would have been better. Yeah. I mean, we'll knock them out next turn, which is good, I guess, and we heal a lot with Citrus, so it's not the end of the world. Yeah, okay. Gonna bring in the Bundle, and I'm pretty sure there's specs on Flutter, which means we should have a safe... Actually doubt Icy Wind knocks out their Flutter Mane here, so I have to Freeze Dry that slot, which is not so bad. Only Heatran can switch in on that, so yeah, I'm gonna go for Flare Blitz and... No. Heatran switch would be a bit problematic, actually, giving them that. So, how can I cover for that? I don't really think I can so easily. Hydro Pump, I think, covers everything but Ogerpon switching in. Do they preserve their Flutter Mane here? I feel like not. I'm gonna go for Freeze Dry, Flare Blitz. It feels like it'd be a little greedy for them to preserve their Tera, or like use a Tera here, and Heatran comes in. Yeah, okay. This game is gonna be challenging. For sure. Because I have Rillaboom in the back. And we're giving them a Heat Wave boost, so I can't not that I could freely switch before, but now they guaranteed knockout if they switch, and now Heat Wave, even double target, will knock out my Rillaboom, or my Iron Bundle, so that's bad. Iron Hands out again. Lovely. Okay. If they're Assault Vest Heatran, we are super toast. Should I Rock Slide? I think I need to chip the Heatran a little bit, honestly. I think they're likely to fake me out, though. So I'm just going to go Fake Out. Flare Blitz. Heatran protects, which is interesting. Are you going for the legendary Fake Out Protect? No, they are not. So they burn our Protect, but we knock out Iron Hands, which may be a favorable trade for them. It's hard to say. We'll see who they switch in here. Actually, Ogerpon. Yeah, Follow Me Ogerpon means I can't Hydro Pump them, so that's good for them. We do have the speed advantage, so I think I'm going to go for... Oh, man. I kind of want to Hydro Pump, truthfully. I do want to Hydro Pump, but they... Freeze Dry... I have to flinch them anyways, probably. I think I'm going to Hydro Pump. Follow Me is like reasonably likely from them. But they could just as easily Spiky Shield as they go for Tera Fairy plus something. And if they do that, like I think if they're going to Tera their Heatran, they probably Spiky Shield the Ogerpon, yeah, as we see. So given that, I want to get as much damage on the Heatran as possible, which I do get it off. I get the Hydro Pump, and that wasn't Assault Vest. We get a Rock Slide off, which I think is going to put them in range of a Grassy Glide, but we do miss the Heatran, which is, you know, not the best, but we should live this Heat Wave pretty handily on the Arcanine. At which point, man. Oh, it was Life Orb. I think 2 Rock Slides would have knocked them out, which means it's a little frustrating because we could have gone for Fake out the Ogerpon Rock Slide this turn, confirm the Speed Tier while also threatening the knockout on Heatran, but unfortunately not the case. I do feel like Grassy Glide isn't the worst here. So they probably protect Heatran, right? And maybe protect Ogerpon, it's hard to say. Do I lose a lot by going for Grassy Glide? Yeah, if they knock out if I don't outspeed and flinch the Ogerpon, then that's very bad. I could go for Fake Out Flare Blitz, I don't know. Bit of a tricky spot. They protect Heatran, so yeah, we could have gone like Grassy Glide Flare Blitz, and if we outsped them, probably knock them out, but I didn't think that was worth the risk. Just get the consistent damage off with Fake Out Rock Slide. We get a crit, which could matter. We do really need to hit this Rock Slide though, to put it into Grassy Glide range, yep. And I think the Grassy Surge kind of ooh, that actually didn't do that much. We did outspeed them though. That's super relevant. I think we just go for that. Right? Yeah. They go for Follow Me, of course. Grassy Glide probably doesn't knock them out. It doesn't, yeah, so we won't get our single target Rock Slide. We do hit this time. I think we're probably going to need to flinch, even with Life Orb Chip. We do get the flinch though. Okay, that's GG. Based on the damage of the last Heat Wave, I think it would have been close on whether they can knock out my Arcanine. In which case, maybe I can make a Howl read on them. I could have made a Howl read as they try and heal with Grassy Terrain, and then maybe I two-shot, but yeah, definitely not now. Yeah, at this point I just go probably Howl Grassy Glide, because I really don't think they live. Yep, we go for the Howl basically to confirm the Grassy Glide KO next turn even after the healing. And also we just keep going for Howl in case they're able to go for a triple protect and stall out our Grassy Terrain, in which case we'd have to get another flinch. This means we just have to hit the attack once Grassy Terrain ends in 3 turns. So yeah, kind of got lucky there on the flinch, but maybe it doesn't actually matter if we hit the first Rock Slide, because then we had them low enough where we probably just knock out with a Rock Slide, but yeah. After the Life Orb plus the Rock Slide hits, I think we would have knocked out if we hadn't flinched, if we lived the Heat Wave, but that's a big if. So yeah, good game to my opponent. Definitely had some Rock Slide intervention in our favor, but we did miss the Rock Slide, so Rock Slide flinch more likely than Rock Slide miss, so I don't feel too bad about it. Up against Angel Dot with Raichu Alolan form. I don't even know if that's legal. Low Kick, Slowbro, Tinkaton, Arboliva, and Pincurchin. Interesting. A lot of Psychic types. Not a ton of physical type attackers. I think Kommo-o is not that great here, but I might force it, honestly. I feel like forcing it just because I really want Kommo-o to get some time here. Let's see. Knockoff kind of covers the Psychic type, so I'm actually going to bring Arcanine as a lead just to do damage into... Does Own Tempo actually make you Intimidate resist? I don't remember that. But yeah, I like Kommo-o in the back. And we'll go, I think Rillaboom, pretty solid overall. Can kind of just like snipe some of the weaker Pokemon and also get rid of the electric terrain so that Raichu can't do that much damage. So interesting team from my opponent, but they're in Master Ball tier, so Can't sleep on them too hard. And we see low kicks and Slowbro. So Tyranitar Arcanine I think is pretty favorable here. We have honestly a very safe Rock Slide knockoff, I think. I could Flare Blitz the low kicks, but I'm not... could they be low kicks? Perhaps. In which case we probably should Flare Blitz them. I could have Will-o-Wisp them. I think that's a little better. Because if they're Focus Sash, then... okay. I don't know what's happening. Okay. We live the Axe Kick, which is, I think, like, kind of a high jump kick clone. Yeah, we should have Rock Slided. Okay. Okay, they Scald. Neither knocks out. What is going on? Yeah, so we get... Will-o-Wisp would have been pretty good there, but Flare Blitz would have been better. Rock Slide would have been about as good. Unfortunate. But hey, the Intimidate coming in clutch for us. I do think we'll tank the Axe Kick on Arcanine. So that means what? Should I switch here? I don't really want to take too much damage this turn. I think I'm going to go Rock Slide, Rock Slide. All reliable. Yep, and they do target into the Arcanine. It does knock out. Kind of surprising. But we do miss a Rock Slide, so there's that too. That's pretty good. As they slack off, and now we have a tenuous matchup against the Slowbro. Very cool. I'm getting scared, guys. Okay. Okay, this is fine. We just have to knock out the Slowbro. The low kicks is not that scary because we have Kommo in the back. So I think we just go Rock Slide, Grassy Glide, knock out the Slowbro. Oh my goodness, Pincurchin in the back though. Could switch in. Oh my goodness, okay. Yeah, the low kicks is doing some work. It's kicking. Yeah, there's the switch. Yeah, there's the switch. Okay, what if I fake out at Rock Slided though? You know what I mean? But that, you know what? You got it. You got it, boss. Because I didn't do that. Okay. Yep, and they hit their Axe Kick. I'm pretty sure that's an inaccurate move. It's probably only 90. I'm moaning over nothing. But we do have the Pincurchin on the field. That'll fold to a Wood Hammer. But unfortunately for us, low kicks might have a knockout with the grass type move. Regardless, maybe we sweep with the Kommo still. This might be the most forced Kommo-o clutch ever, but hey, we're gonna try and get it done. And I say forced just because, man, if we had just not messed around in the early game, maybe Flare Blitz the low kicks, this would have not been an issue. Low kicks is out. It's scared for some reason. Yeah, I mean, what was I going to do against low kicks anyways? I guess they're just resetting Intimidate so that they can beat the Rillaboom, but yeah, at this point it's just all about dealing damage to... or just getting the Iron Defenses up. If need be, I can Iron Defense to knock out the Slowbro. I'm not healing because of Grassy Terrain though. Most damage will be near permanent because of Sand and Leftovers canceling themselves out. So this might be a fun loss. Okay, yeah. Because now they bring in low kicks. We've seen that they outspeed Rillaboom. They'd have to have somehow fail first impression. I don't know. Raichu is interesting. Raichu's very interesting for them. I mean, I'm just always going Iron Defense Wood Hammer here, right? Interesting. I wouldn't have gone in that direction, but fair enough. You know what? Yeah, the Raichu does end up being the problem here. Because I have Tera'd away from my... Okay, Slowbro's tearing. Okay. And it's Steel type. Okay, fair enough. Should have been Wood Hammer into the Raichu and Body Press then. Yes, Psychic into Kommo-o, which is fine. A lot of damage though, so not that fine. Wood Hammer into the Slowbro. Doesn't really matter because they'll be in range of a knockout next turn with Body Press, so that damage is really just detrimental to me. And yeah, another Body Press for us. And they Psychic into the Rillaboom, which is good for them. Okay. They can probably knock me out with an Electric Surge attack on Kommo-o, but I think at this point I can't really afford to mess around too much. I wonder if Body Press knocks out Raichu. It might. If Rillaboom lives the turn, I'm just checking the speed tiers. Yeah, okay. I'm kind of counting on beating the Raichu. Or beating the Slowbro, like it not getting a Scald, but I think I have to go after the Raichu this turn. Oh yeah, they Psychic, so. Really hoping for a knockout here. Unfortunately, I think Sand ward off just a second ago. So even if they're Focus Sash and we bring them down... Oh, okay. Kommo-o. You dog. Scald, okay. They burn. The damage output I think is less instrumental than the... Yeah, no Leftovers is worse than the burn itself. So if you didn't know, even though Body Press is a physical attack based on your defense stat, the burn status doesn't actually have your attack stat, it has the damage of physical moves, so the base power physical moves basically. So yeah. I gain no benefit from going Protects now. +2. Skull did 30. I feel like Axe Kick will do more than 30. But regardless, I should outspeed Slowbro, so I think I always go after low kicks here. They Axe Kick and they do finally miss. And we could have protected, actually. Good to know that Axe Kick is literally just clone of High Jump Kick. But we do knock out the low kicks, and Scald with a crit shouldn't even knock us out. So we might have actually gotten the 1v1 with Kommo-o, or the 1v3. Man, I played this game so awfully, but you can kind of see, like, if your opponent even slightly gets off base with their Pokemon against Kommo-o, and with a little luck, you can actually win, which is crazy. Yeah, I'd have to look at the Axe Kick roll because we are +3, so they're doing, I believe, is that a third or a fourth of the damage? I think it's a third of the damage. So they would have had to be able to knock out the Kommo-o plus a little bit extra from full for them to have won. But that also doesn't take into account them getting the burn, so we will just not look the gift horse in the mouth and we'll take the RNG in our favor. Okay, last one of the day, we have a opponent with Ogerpon, Iron Bundle, Ninetales, Snorlax, Cresselia, and Indeedee. So the last battle was a Kommo-o battle. This is the most Tyranitar battle that there has ever been. Like, so good for Tyranitar. I like Flutter Mane a lot. I like Arcanine a fair bit as well. I don't think I should lead Tyranitar necessarily, but maybe I could. I actually don't mind that lead here, because they have to lead Ninetales to get the Auroraville up immediately, and then I can just switch out the... Like, they'd have to bring in Ninetales on an attack to get the Hail up, which I'm fine with, or the Snow up. I do like Rillaboom a lot, being able to override the terrain. I think Kommo-o could be pretty solid here for the most part, and then I think Rillaboom is a pretty solid switch into water type attacks and grass type attacks from the Ogerpon, so I'm going to go for that. But yeah, this is generally the most solid, or the most consistent game plan I saw on from this team, was just going Tyranitar, Arcanine, get your passives with Will-o-Wisp and Sandstream up, and then try and chip away at your team, and then bring in Kommo-o at the opportune time, which is what we're going for here. Yeah, Indeedee plus a Snorlax, totally fine by me. How knockoff is a knockout into that. But if they go for Tera, that could be a bit problematic, so gotta watch out for that. They could be Facade, unfortunately. I think I'm gonna go Rock Slide knockoff just because it covers... It doesn't cover their Tera, but if they do Tera, we can flinch them. So... The old school approach to beating Trick Room, of course, yeah. If we hit the Rock Slide, we guarantee knockoff is a KO, which we do. It'd actually have to be a resist parry to survive. Okay. Yep. Glad we rock slid, right? Not so glad. Okay. So that's not the worst. Yeah, that's not awful. Because I think we still can go for Rock Slide Will-o-Wisp and be okay. That seems pretty good. There's not really reason to risk the Rock Slide though, outside of getting damage on the Snorlax initially, which I'm not sure is necessary. I don't really want to miss, honestly. Yeah, miss plus follow me would be annoying, so I'm gonna go for knockoff again. Plus it covers a switch. But Rock Slide covered a like Ninetale switch a little bit better, so not the best. I'll take that though. Yeah, I mean you're not choice band Snorlax, no shot. We probably don't live with the Arcanine. Yeah. Definitely not with the crit. I mean, we do have a lot of bulk, but it is 4 times super effective, but they were intimidated, so I'm not sure. Definitely fine with how that goes. We knock off their Covert Cloak, very interesting. Looking at the speed tiers, they're probably going to outspeed me on the Cresselia, so if they have Moonblast, that could be a little annoying. Would they have that though? Maybe. Probably not worth the risk to check. But we are getting a little in a bit of trouble against this Snorlax. If they go for Belly Drum, definitely starting to get in some trouble. Covert Cloak would you be Moonblast or Psychic? I am not sure. How many turns of Trick Room left? I think I'm gonna go Tera Steel here on the chance, and then go low kick into the Snorlax in case they go for Belly Drum here. Yeah, no Tera, so we will hit a low kick into their Lax if they go for that, but given how far behind I am at this point, even though I've taken a lot of damage, if they go for Belly Drum, I don't have Protect on any of my Pokemon, and although I do have Protect on the Kommo-o. But if they knock me out with Moonblast, then they can just switch in Indeedee. If they went for like a really aggressive play this turn, yeah, they have Dazzling Gleam, so very glad I went for the Tera. Probably wouldn't have knocked out Kommo-o, but would have gotten a bit close for comfort. Yeah, low kick gonna do a good chunk here. Maybe a knockout? Yeah, not, which is actually better, I think, for us. Because now, I think I will try to stall out their Tailwind, or their Trick Room, with another Iron Defense, because we're not taking a lot from Earthquake at this point. And they do have a knockout on the Tyranitar, so we're going to go Iron Defense, switch into Rillaboom. Oops, whoops. Not quite. Well, do I need 2? Do I need 2? I might need to get 2 boosts up against the Ogerpon, truthfully. Yeah, I think that's right. Oh, Custat Berry. I don't think you move faster than a switch. Are you going for self-destruct? I guess they're like belly drum, self-destruct. I don't know. They're earthquake. Weird Custat Berry guy. Helping Hand. Oh, are they booming? I think they're just earthquaking, which I'm fine with. Yeah, there's the EQ. They are intimidated and not doing a ton of damage. This is basically neutral. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I forgot about Grassy Terrain. They did 7 damage to my Kommo-o. We get another Iron Defense up, and we are looking good. I think I'm kind of okay to leave the Snorlax on the field. It's like, at this point, kind of useless. I don't think I leave Cresselia on the field, though. I think I just go for my last Iron Defense, get some boosts up. Yeah. And we are healing a ton of passive. That's something you have to get used to on this team, is all the passive healing that you're getting. I think no real reason not to go for Wood Hammer instead of Grassy Glide on the crest. The difference in recoil is unlikely to be of super high value. Yeah, we're just leaving Snorlax on the field. They can maybe go for like a fake out Ice Punch. Okay, that's non-zero. That's non-trivial. But we do knock out the crest. We do kind of see that they are walled against the Kommo-o though. Like, if they're belly drum, they can't go for that. Ice Punch can only freeze me, and Earthquake is, as we have seen, doing no damage. And we get our final boost up on the Kommo-o. So at this point, we're nearing max HP. I would expect us to live a Ogerpon attack. So I think I'm feeling pretty good about this slot overall. But yeah, using their own Trick Room to set up the Iron Defenses was pretty funny. One cause for concern though. If they have Encore Iron Bundle, that could be tricky. Because our last used move was the Iron Defense. It is Ogerpon though, fair enough. Yeah, I think I just go... I don't think the 3 HP is going to matter. I'm just going to go for Wood Hammer into you. I don't think that's right. I feel like Body Press is a little better for me. Let's see. What are they angling for? They're angling for most likely a knockout here. And then, like, they want me to knock out their Snorlax and then bring in Indeedee and follow me and then get 2 Ivy Cudgels off. So I'm going to deny them the knockout on the Snorlax and switch in my Tyranitar. If they do switch into Indeedee this turn, I'm threatening Rock Slide damage if they try and go after my Kommo-o. So an Ice Punch won't knock out Tyranitar without a crit, and Earthquake won't knock out because of Grassy Terrain. Most likely, yeah, again, without a crit. So, no switch from the Snorlax, so yeah, they were going to go for it, but they would have left me to hit them with a Body Press, which is interesting. Yeah, the Ivy Cudgel to Kommo-o. I will get to full HP this turn, take a bit of chip from Sandstorm on them. Well, that's not quite true because of the Grassy Terrain. Yep, Ice Punch not a knockout, and it doesn't freeze us, most notably. So, yeah, now we just go for Rock Slide plus Body Press. But, man, the berry turn 1 was so funny. Yeah, I think we just go for... Do I have to Rock Slide here? Probably. Maybe, maybe not. Low kick's fine. If they crit the Ivy Cudgel, I want the Rock Slide just in case I can crit them. Yep, so it's all going to come down to if they crit or not. And they don't, and they only do half. Goodness gracious. Yeah, we do miss, which is onto the Snorlax, but not the threat. But yeah, turns out you only need 2 iron defenses to take that Ivy Cudgel. That's impressive. You go, Kommo-o. But yeah, this because of the I forget what it's called, the Dark Resist Berry. This actually wasn't the most Tyranitar game that Tyranitar ever Tyranitar'd, but it was pretty close. It provided a ton of knock-off damage, the Sandstorm damage, kind of chipped down the Snorlax over time, and yeah, did a big chunk to Ogerpon. I don't think we would have been able to win if they crit us, because then they just bring in Indeedee as soon as we have Rillaboom on the field, and then we can't stop them from stopping our priority moves, and then just GG from there. Not necessarily, actually, because maybe Woodhammer... We might have still won, actually. With Rock Slide Woodhammer, I think with the Miracle Seed, we might knock out the Ogerpon, and then we win from there, but yeah. Fortunately, didn't have to find out. And yeah, we just go for closing with Rock Slide Body Press, and yeah, they have no damage into Kommo-o, which is usually how these battles will end. No damage into Kommo-o, click forfeit if you don't have a way to crit through. So yeah, really good session with the Kommo-o this time, going undefeated overall with some close games, but overall fortunate. Fortunate luck, had a bit of flinch luck, but I think this is something that this team does exceptionally well. There's not a lot of teams in the metagame outside of like the ones carrying Choice Scarf Landorus that can just go for fast Rock Slides, but this one has a pretty speedy Tyranitar and a very fast Arcanine, so if you find yourself against a more passive team, and you find yourself in a little bit of a slippery spot, you can always just Rock Slide your way out. So yeah, very, very solid RNG management on this team as well. So that is going to do it for our battles with Michael Zhang's regional championship winning Kommo-o team, of course featuring the very special Arcanine. Tyranitar, really unconventional pick. We didn't get to go for the Tera Blast, Tera Psychic this game, but really cool option there. Definitely showed it off on stream a couple times. And then the Rillaboom with the Tera Grass, Grassy Glide, just picking up all the KOs that you don't expect it to. Yeah, overall really incredible team. Congrats again to Michael if you want to check him out. The description has his Twitter account as well as the PokePaste and rental code for the team. If you enjoy the videos, please subscribe to the channel. And with all that being said, peace y'all.